two, one, liftoff.
That's one small step for man.
Contact with a test one.
Hi, good morning. It's me, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. Today is a big and exciting day in the world of a new era of commercial suborbital space tourism. How are you guys? I hope you guys are as excited for this as I am. This is a pretty fun one to be able to tune into. So before we start, let's of course do a little thing that we like to do around here called a pre-launch preview. We're going to give you a rundown on what you can expect today in about 45 minutes. We don't have an exact time of launch, but we're kind of estimating, and the stream is going to go live in about 5 minutes. So before that, what we're going to do is we're going to give you a little pre-launch preview. Anytime you have any questions about upcoming rocket launches, where it's launching from, what it's doing, yada, 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 just go to everydayastronaut.com. You can click on this little button here, the upcoming launches tab, and then you'll be able to get a preview of upcoming launches that are happening today. But today's launch is of the VSS Unity. This is the 22nd flight, basically, of this vehicle. It's really weird. You know, when we're talking about a space plane, it's a little different than a normal rocket. So let's give you a little rundown here. This is going to be taking off today on July 11th, which is and supposed to be. So the times are kind of changing. We've had to kind of just stay up to date with Twitter. But yeah, we're thinking that it's going to be in about 45 minutes or so. So the mission name for this is Unity 22, the 22nd flight of SpaceShipTwo. The launch provider for this, the people launching it, is Virgin Galactic. The customer who's paying for it is Virgin Galactic. The rocket is called SpaceShipTwo. The launch location, though, this is kind of fun, is VMS Eve. So the White Knight 2 named VMS Eve is the plane, the carrier plane that drops the SpaceShipTwo, but they do launch, or that takes off from Spaceport America in New Mexico, and that's kind of down there in the middle of nowhere near Truth and Consequences, New Mexico, just really remote location. But the fun thing is that it's basically the launch pad is taking off first. You know, so if you think about it, the launch location it's launching from the plane, but the plane has to take off first. Yeah, kind of fun thing. Payload mass not available. We don't really know. But we do know that, you know, there are 6 people on board, 2 pilots and 4 passengers. Where is it going? It's just going on a suborbital ride. Now, yesterday I released a really deep dive on this exact vehicle. I'll talk about that more in a second, and then we'll get into it. It's suborbital, so it's just going up and coming basically straight back down. You're really going to only be in space for a couple, well, depending on your definition of space, this vehicle might not quite get there for some of you. One of the internationally defined line for space would be, most people consider 100 kilometers. This vehicle gets to about 90 kilometers, but that's the definition of the Kármán line. Now, what's funny is the Kármán line, Mr. Kármán, I don't remember his name, it calculated it at 83 kilometers. So by his own definition, which is funny, it somehow just got rounded up to 100. By his own definition, the boundary of space was 83 kilometers. So this would exceed that. So in some ways it exceeds the Kármán line, but not the Kármán line, but the Kármán line like the Kármán did. I don't know. Regardless, you're going up above like the vast majority of the atmosphere, getting an incredible view. So it is what it is. It's exciting regardless. It'd be an amazing ride. Okay, will they be attempting to recover the first stage? Yes, I hope so. The first stage is an airplane. It's a huge jet, 4-engined jet, twin hull, really cool. Where will this first stage land? They're going to take it right back to the runway at Spaceport America. Will they be attempting to recover the fairings? There are no fairings or protective nose cones on this vehicle. It's all just a spaceship. There are no fairings on SpaceShipTwo. How's the weather looking? We don't know. It rained, I think, last night, or had some poor weather conditions so it kind of was a little bit later starting today than they had originally planned. This will be the first fully crewed flight of SpaceShipTwo ever. By the way, this is the VSS Unity is the second SpaceShipTwo vehicle. So SpaceShipTwo is the name of this larger vehicle. It is the second one that flew and was built. So this is the first time they've ever put people fully on board, which is really cool. This is the 22nd flight of VSS Unity altogether. The 12th mission for SpaceShipTwo, though. I know these are kind of confusing. And the 4th crewed flight, and they're all crewed because there's pilots, but really it should say the 4th powered flight. Under the power of its own rocket motor. This is the 4th time they're going to light the rocket motor on VSS Unity. So if you guys want more of a rundown on this vehicle, on what's going on, who's on board, the 4 specialists. This is funny. I actually know Sarisha. I met her at the IAC 2016. So when Elon Musk revealed what we now know as Starship, at the time they were calling it the Interplanetary Transportation System, the ITS. I met her there. It was really fun. She was really nice, just a wonderful person. So it's really cool for me to see someone that I know flying. Like, that's just really surreal. And then, of course, I think we all are familiar with Richard Branson, owner of the Virgin Group and Virgin Galactic, Virgin Orbit, Virgin Records, Virgin Atlantic, etc., etc. It obviously bodes well and speaks well that he's willing to get on this vehicle for its first flight. I think that's really cool. So if you want to read more about it, we've got this. But we also have for you guys, just like I said yesterday, I released a video. It's about comparing New Shepard versus SpaceShipTwo. So definitely after this, if you want to know all the nitty-gritty details about this vehicle, probably too many details, definitely give this video a watch. And don't forget, we have Jeff Bezos, who's going to be riding on his first crewed flight of his New Shepard vehicle. And that's going to be on July 20th, the 52nd anniversary of Apollo 11. He will have his brother on board and a so far still anonymous person that had bid $28 million to be on that first ride. And then Wally Funk, who is an aviation legend. Definitely give this a watch, and hopefully you'll learn something. We go into the bits about, like, what's the Kármán line and all this stuff too, and when you'll experience zero G or weightlessness. We go into it pretty deep. So this is the hybrid rocket motor that is inside of SpaceShipTwo. Now it's really unique because it is a solid booster. It's a solid rocket motor, but it's a hybrid. So there's actually there's nitrous oxide that's inside of a tank in front of it. And when the nitrous oxide's flowing, that is the oxidizer. The HTPB solid propellant will stop running in the absence of nitrous. So they start flowing nitrous through it. As long as the nitrous is running, the rocket will burn. If they turn off the nitrous, it will shut down the engine, which is cool because normally solid rocket boosters, like the big ones on the side of the space shuttle and stuff, once you turn those babies on, you could not turn them off. This is kind of a cool mixture between, like, the simplicity and reliability of a solid rocket booster, because they're very simple, very reliable, relatively cheap, and then but having the ability to still shut it down in case there would be some kind of emergency or something like that. Pretty cool. That's at the heart of this beast. So I'm excited to see that thing fire up today here to propel them towards space. So yeah, so give that video a watch if you need any more information, etc., etc. Okay, looks like the live stream is beginning to start, but it's not really doing much yet. So I'm going to have it says it's 1080, but it looks more like potatoes. But you know what? We're gonna go like this, and then we can kind of keep talking about it here. Give me a second. Okay, so let's get to some of your guys' questions here. First off, thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in with me this morning. I like I said, I'm really excited about this, and after the video I released yesterday doing a bit of research on these two vehicles, I'm really excited for this. So so thank you guys so much. I really want to focus on some of your guys' questions. So you don't have to do a super chat or anything. Our mods can pull questions from you guys directly, which is always really fun. So if you ask a good question, we'll try to put it up on screen and answer it live. Now, another thing I'm going to warn you, there's probably going to be a ton of copywritten material in this stream. So a lot of times I'm probably going to talk over people. Okay, I'm just warning you right now. If you don't want me to talk over and answer questions, maybe watch the official stream yourself. I'm going to be hosting this on my own to really help try to answer questions and explain what's going on in real time. But there's going to be, it's being hosted by Stephen Colbert. So yeah, there's a good chance that, I might be talking over something, especially when there's music playing and stuff like that, because it's going to be copyright protected. So, all right. So hopefully their feed comes in here pretty soon. It's coming home. I love it. This is from Musical Wolves. Will they be allowed to unbuckle when in 0G? Yes. Yep. The seatbelt system actually retracts really quickly. It's a really cool, slick thing. The seats also will retract back quite a bit. The seats are basically active. They continually adjust their angle based on what portion of flight they're in. So, during a normal ascent, while it's hanging out on still attached to White Knight 2, or while it's still attached to the Eve space plane or the actual plane portion, they're kind of in a traditional seat. It's pretty normal. When they're actually under power, I think when they're under power, it's still pretty upright actually, because that would make sense. You want the acceleration going through as much surface area of your body as possible through your back. And then once it's in 0G, they recline and the seatbelts can retract, and you can float around and grab different windows. There's 17 windows that the crew on board can look through. There's little like halo rings around the edges of the windows to be able to help, because again, 0G isn't the absence of gravity necessarily, but your entire frame of reference, everything that you are attached to. I made a little mistake in my video yesterday. I actually said it's no longer accelerating. I meant the engine is no longer accelerating, because the whole time, I said it before in the video, that the whole time, you're being pulled down by gravity at peak about 9.4 meters per second squared. That's still the amount of accelerating force that gravity is pulling at you, even when the engine's off and as you're coming back down. You and the vehicle are both accelerating at that same rate. So everything in your frame of reference is moving together. So you've just experienced this weightlessness, right? So people are grabbing onto the windows. They have cameras, like 16 cameras on board, so you don't have to mess around with your own, fiddle around with your own camera and everything. I think it's pretty cool. So the seats retract and do this whole cool thing. I hope we get to see some of that. Now, the one thing I'm curious about, they have a SpaceShipTwo, and they showed it, and that's the next generation, and they showed off the interior. I don't think this has the new interior yet, so I'm going to be really interested to see if they did. Maybe they fitted it with the new interior, but yeah. All right. This is saying Carmen line is better. The Kerman line is better. Wait, is that Kerman like I don't know. Oh, Jet. Oh my gosh. Now I see. Yes, Jeb Kerman and the little Kerbal space program. 70 kilometers. I agree. To me, that is space. That's the only one that matters to me. It took me a second. I'm a little slow this morning. Good morning, David, and thank you for saying hi. Oh, man. All right. Thanks for your emission. Yeah, I don't know if I quite agree with that, but yeah. I'm happy he's flying Wally Funk. I'll definitely say that. All right, this is from Brandon Broyles. When do you think we will be able to go to space? I assume Brandon is asking just kind of when will the general public be able to just go to space? I don't know if it's going to be vehicles like this yet that gets it to the average person. I kind of doubt it, just because there's a lot of, it's still an expensive thing. So far, the people that have paid for rides are paying $250,000 for a 90-minute, two-hour ride. Only about, really only about 4 minutes of weightlessness, and arguably not quite even really getting into space per se. I don't think the average person is going to sell their house and car to experience that, right? I just don't think that's, keep paying a mortgage on a 90-minute experience. I just don't think that's going to be a realistic thing, right? Now, I think this is the path in the right direction. I think the competition between, especially Virgin Galactic and New Shepard and Blue Origin's New Shepard, I think that's healthy competition that can help bring that cost down. I think it'll be a while still, but it's finally actually happening. I mean, this was supposed to happen in like 2007 or 2007, then like 2009, then 2013, then. It's just been taking way longer than I think anyone thought. And even with Blue Origin, who's flown their rocket 15 times perfectly successfully, it's still taking a lot longer than I think any of us would think. So, let's say that the magic number where people consider just being able to take a quick trip to space is, let's say 20 grand. Still a huge number, obviously, right? 20 grand, still a lot of money. But, you know, if that was like a once in a lifetime, you've always wanted to go to space your whole life, that might be something you could save up and do, right? I think we're still quite a ways away from that. It might be a vehicle. Frankly, if Starship point-to-point happens, there's a potential that would be most people's average, you know, the first time they ride to space. But, yeah, good question. David Johnson, that's awesome. I love that you're using my videos with your engineering students. That's super, super cool. Thank you so much, David. That really means a lot. This is from Caesar. Love the new shorter videos. By shorter videos, do you mean the 29-minute one video, the 29-minute one I released the other day, or the 32 one before that? Or are you talking about the one? I'm doing a couple 1-minute long shorts on YouTube of kind of just some common definitions of spaceflight terms. Just trying to make a glossary of 1-minute terms using YouTube's their shorts platform. Some people hate the vertical video. Sorry, but the good thing is, like, at least half the time, if you're going to just look something up, it'll be on your phone, right? If you're looking up what is the Kármán line or what's 0G or what's suborbit versus orbit, you'll probably be doing it on your phone. So you might as well enjoy the full display vertically, right? That's kind of the idea. It kind of sucks. I wish I could upload like 2 versions. One that's horizontal for TVs and stuff and computers, and then one that's vertical for your phone. YouTube, do that, please. I would love to do that because people are like, oh, they've got 65-inch 4K TV and you're using up a third of it. It's like, I'm not using up a third. YouTube made me do it. But yeah, I'm excited about those, and I'm excited about those videos. So definitely stay tuned. There's a lot more. We've already shot a bunch of them. But yeah. Thank you very much, Brandy. I really appreciate that. This is from Luke Tattersall. This is in regards to the the $28 million bid to ride on Jeff Bezos' New Shepard. Do I think the mystery $28 million bidder is Elon Musk? I really don't think so, just because I really don't think he would want any more money funneling to Bezos right now, right? I think it'd be hilarious. I wish. But yeah, I don't think it's Elon. Who, by the way, Elon was having breakfast this morning with Richard Branson, and is there to support and just watch the flight, which I think is really cool. I think that's the kind of mentality I want to see from these titans of industry. You know, these are the people that are helping to push this boundary forward, help get people excited. The cool thing, guys, is, you know, a lot of people might not love that Branson's not an engineer and that he really didn't, you know, he's not out there designing this vehicle. You know, Elon's a lot more hands-on, you know, doing quite literally hands-on with the rocket, like he's, you know, out there in the field and making design decisions every single day. That's not what Richard Branson did or does, but that's okay. You know, not everyone needs to be the engineer of their own vehicle in order for it to be exciting. The fact that, you know, he's invested and put this much financially into this program and Virgin Orbit is really cool. So it's really cool to see him and Elon getting together and being supportive of each other. I think that's awesome. And it really makes sense in this case because these two, you know, what Virgin Galactic is doing and Virgin Orbit is doing in almost no way are, you know, stepping on toes with anything that SpaceX is doing. You know, very, very little, you know, if you have like a Venn diagram, there's only a teeny little micro slice of the pie that they even cross-represent at all. Okay, so that's good. VMS Eve has taken off. Hopefully they get their stream fixed here. This is not great. I really hope that, yeah, I guess we might have to be looking at flight radar. Oh, here we go. Boom, right on time. Just as I'm about to cry that we're not going to have a good stream, here we are. So the vehicle has officially taken off. I do not have any audio from it. I'm going to double check here that, yeah. Well, and I'm going to make sure our overlay isn't completely, so they have not posted their own T0 time yet. Oh, okay. And okay, well, at least we're going to see something. That's a good sign, right? Hang on, let me try and fix this here real quick. So I'm going to make it so our overlay doesn't quite get in the way of their thing. Give me just 1 second here. Because I saw that it was. All right. Okay, this is a good question from Chief Tyrant. What is your source of research for making videos? Well, okay, as you might guess, the first thing you can often do is just a simple Google search. But on top of that, though, the thing that really helps a lot is scholar.google.com. Is that what is that what it's called? Scholar.google? I always have to look that up. Isn't that sad? Scholar.google.com, is that what it is? Yeah. So Google Scholar will mostly just look for papers. Look for things that are published in academic papers, which is a lot more reliable. So we're going to like I said, I'm going to kind of keep this stuff up here. I'm not going to really have the audio playing a lot of times because it will probably all get copyright striked. Copywritten striked. But this is cool. Man, they sure do. They definitely know how to make impressive looking videos. Look at this. This is stunning. But anyway, New Mexico, true land of it. Okay. Well, let's see if we're going to hear from them now. I hope we do get some. All right. So it is actually being hosted by Stephen Colbert. Okay, there's music on it. Whatever. We're just going to take the copyright strike.
Today's momentous occasion. I'm delighted you can join us for an historic day. Over the next few hours, you'll see live coverage of today's space flight, unprecedented access inside the spacecraft, and a live performance of a brand new song by multi-platinum artist Khalid. Entrepreneur, philanthropist, iconoclast, activist, adventurer, billionaire, goatee host organism. Later today, Richard Branson and his crew will return to Earth as astronauts. Hello, everyone. I'm Stephen Colbert. Thank you for joining us. Earlier this morning, Richard Branson and his crew arrived at Spaceport America, ready to embark on a life-changing journey. When Richard called me and asked me if I'd like to host today's live stream, I said, "Who is this? And how did you get my number?" Then he said who it was, explained today's flight test mission, and I said, yes, I would be honored to host your launch. After all, I've known Richard for years. I've never been to his private island, but that's okay. That's how close we are. Friends don't have to ask friends to their private island, evidently.
Real quick, for those of you that don't know who Stephen Colbert is, he's a late-night host in the United States. I know a lot of international people are probably going, what the heck, who is this? But he used to have a show called The Colbert Report. He originally was a guest host on Jon Stewart's show. So him and Steve Carell were both actually on Jon Stewart's show, and they kind of both got their kickstarts in their career at the same time. So yeah, so this is he's actually really funny. I really like him a lot, but this is all the stuff that'll just be pure. Oh, I remember that actually. That's funny. I remember these. Dang, I didn't realize he's been on the show or part of his show so many times.
All of that in character on a comedy show. So, Richard, I want you to know, as myself, sincerely, I meant every word. But there is one thing Richard and I do have in common, a deep, lifelong passion for space exploration. That's why Richard founded Virgin Galactic in 2004 with the dream of sending private citizens into space. Now, to do that, he needed to build every part of a whole new industry. He had to construct a spacecraft capable of the journey. Then, to launch these space planes, he had to help create the world's first commercial spaceport. And most importantly, he had to find the people capable of turning his dream into a reality, as well as people brave enough to get on a spaceship built by the guy who launched a soda this awful. Seriously, he lost money selling sugar water. All aboard! Today marks the culmination of Branson's dream. He and his crew will set off on a supersonic voyage in which they'll achieve a maximum velocity of more than Mach 3.5 and ultimately enter zero gravity. Imagine staring out the window onto the vast expanse of space and seeing Earth below, our beautiful blue planet staring back. Unless, of course, you're the guy in the middle seat. Then you have to ask the astronaut sitting next to the window to put it all in perspective for you. Oh, and I'm being told that there are no middle seats in space. Thank you, science. It's been a dream of mine to go into space ever since I was a child. Unfortunately, I cannot be on the spacecraft today. I had a thing. Also, I was not technically invited, but Richard was generous enough to give me a spacecraft of my very own. And I will be using this model to give scientifically accurate play-by-play of today's historic events, as well as doing this. The Virgin Galactic crew are an inspiration to be bold, to be audacious, and to never give up in the pursuit of even your wildest dreams. So let's now take you to where the action is happening, live in the studio at Spaceport America, where your other co-hosts are standing by. First, one of the newest members of the Virgin Galactic team. She's a science author, an expert in space exploration, a bioastronautic researcher, and most impressively, a TikTok star. Kelly Girardi. Great to have you here, Kelly.
Yeah, I know Kelly, too.
Next up, a man who has flown 2 space shuttle missions and spent time on the International Space Station, where he served as commander and performed a viral David Bowie cover. Here he is, the first man to do open mic in 0G, Chris Hadfield. Welcome, Chris. And finally, your mission host for today. She's a structures operations engineer for Virgin Galactic, and fun fact, actually got married in the spaceship that will be taking the crew up today, Veronica McGowan. So now I turn it over to Veronica, Chris, and Kelly for more on today's historic flight.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you all, live from Spaceport America. It's a momentous day for Sir Richard Branson, a milestone for Virgin Galactic, and a historic event for the future of spaceflight. Just 7 weeks ago, Virgin Galactic completed the first ever human spaceflight from the great state of New Mexico, and today our founder and his crew will become some of the very few people to have experienced space travel. Let's take a look at how they arrived to Spaceport America.
So I think this video is available on Twitter. I wanted to answer a couple questions here. First off, someone saying that Mr. Carmen said that the edge of space is 91. No, 83.6 kilometers is what he calculated, actually. It was 83.6 kilometers. Yeah. So that is true, but not true. It's not 100. He did not calculate 100 kilometers, which is just hilarious to me that they said it was 100. But this is from Martin. Would I rather fly with Virgin or with Virgin Galactic or Blue Origin? You know, honestly, I have to say, safety-wise, it definitely, this stuff is pretty scary still. I have to give the leg up safety-wise to Blue Origin by having a launch abort system, by having tried and true parachutes. And the parachutes, not only there's 3 of them. You can lose 2 and still survive, so that's pretty impressive. So yeah, I have to give them the leg up as far as safety. But as far as like which one I would probably rather honestly experience, I think I would like the experience of riding and the whole show that they put on. I mean, Spaceport America is amazing, beautiful. I really like the idea of it being a longer ride. It's 90 minutes to 2 hours altogether. And it's just because of the plane, the slow ascent of the plane, as opposed to the Blue Origin ride is about 10 minutes. So it's a lot shorter. They both only spend about 4 minutes in weightlessness, but they, yeah, so I don't know. Honestly, I don't know which I'd rather. I think the safety part of me says Blue Origin, but the experience part of me says Virgin Galactic. So I don't know. What about you guys, though? I don't know about you guys. Let's see. If not needed after Blue Origin's new Shepard separation from capsule, why not use the abort engine for slightly higher and longer? Probably because it's expensive to have to repack that solid rocket motor every time. That's probably why.
Moments ago.
Oh, and it's super high G-forces, by the way. Really high, like 10 to 15 Gs. You probably don't want to subject your passengers to that.
In the state of New Mexico. They're at approximately 30,000 feet in altitude and climbing as we speak.
It's about 10 kilometers.
Our spaceflight system is comprised of 2 vehicles in a mated configuration. Our mothership Eve, named thoughtfully by Richard after his late mother Eve, and Spaceship Unity, named by the late Stephen Hawking as a vehicle that will unite the world through space. Once at the launch altitude and location, Eve will release Unity for a voyage to space. So today is the day, everyone. Chris, what is the significance of today's flight?
I love it when the stuff of dreams becomes a reality. And we've been dreaming of commercial spaceflight, of people being able to fly in space I mean, since the very first Pioneers started flying, the X-15, which was the wonderful program in the 60s, was so much like the profile that they're going to follow today. And then the Ansari X Prize to try and push the limits that is very much the DNA that's on this bottle, in fact, the DNA that has allowed this vehicle to fly. And it is like all of those Pioneers and the flight today, you know, they pried the door open initially, but this crew today is really pushing it open permanently. And I'm really excited for the flight, but I think it's so significant professionally, technically, but personally for the people on board.
Absolutely. And you mentioned opening up that doorway. Kelly, you're one of the people that's going to be going through that doorway soon. We are so thrilled to have you here to get a preview of what you're going to experience on a Virgin Galactic mission in the not too distant future. You got to be getting pretty excited, right?
Incredibly excited. You know, this is an emotional day, right? Those doors are opening for the next generation of astronauts. I feel like we have front row seats to the final frontier today, and I'm so excited to get a taste of what I'm going to experience soon.
Definitely. Well, I'm so thrilled to have you here. And you too, Chris. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this. Let's take a look at what we've got in store for the live stream. So while Mothership Eve is transporting Spaceship Unity to the launch point, we'll check in with the crew and the preparations that went into today's flight. We'll also share some perspective on the Virgin Galactic mission, so who we are, what we do, and our vision for commercial space travel in the 21st century. Next, we'll give you a guided tour through the Virgin Galactic experience, showing you what our astronauts will see and do throughout their stay, both on the ground and on their life-changing journey into space. Once we've reached the launch altitude and location, we'll see the moment when Spaceship Unity is released from Mothership Eve and accelerates into space, all coming to you live. So there's some...
So just a little heads up here. It looks like the vehicle's at 34,000 feet, so just about 10 kilometers. And they don't drop until 18 kilometers.
Special guests on site taking in this experience. My co-host, Kevin. Kevin, what's the vibe like down there?
Thanks, Veronica. I am currently here at Spaceport America's hangar floor, where the ships usually reside, but as you just saw, they're on their way to space. Right behind me, I have the rocket motors we use for launch. And to my left, a very important person, CEO of Virgin Galactic, Michael Cole-Glazer. Michael, good to see you.
It's great to be here, Kevin.
Michael, I have one question for you, and that is, what does today mean?
Kevin, this is a landmark moment for Virgin Galactic. It's a landmark moment for the new commercial space industry, and it certainly is a landmark moment for our founder, Sir Richard Branson, who right now is showing that when you have the fortitude to follow your dream, you can make a hugely profound impact on the world. It's a historic moment, because today we are endeavoring to open access to space for all. Can you imagine being up there and looking back down? Has to be one of the most amazing feelings, and we can't wait for more people to experience it. I have to say how proud I am, Kevin, to have all my friends and colleagues who are today's crew representing the entire company. They're opening the door for the astronauts of tomorrow. We're thrilled to be here today and so excited to have all of you watching to be sharing this moment with us.
It sure really is a historical moment for us, and I'm excited to be here. I'm going to be out in the street, so I'll see you guys in a little bit, but we're going to send it back to you.
Virgin Galactic's mission of sending humans into space requires tenacity, innovation, and an unparalleled drive to succeed. Turns out pioneering a new form of space travel is a tough job, possibly even tougher than my job, where I talk to celebrities for 1 hour a day. But the Virgin Galactic space is to make space itself more accessible and approachable.
So again, this is a video that we can see. Let's use this time to answer a couple questions here. So Daryl Lockwood saying, in an emergency, do they have an escape plan? So there's not like there's not a traditional like launch abort system or anything in this vehicle. They can shut the engines down, or the biggest thing they can do is, you know, after they drop, if something doesn't look right, both the space plane and of course the carrier plane can both go just land. Like the space plane's still a glider, so it has the backup of just, you know, either they can even light the engine if something's not right or off nominal or off normal. They can shut the engine down. So that's an important thing right there. As far as like, you know, like escape pods or anything like that, there's nothing of that sort. But yeah, this is from Richard Plukas. Thank you for your generous tip. If I look tired, it's because I am tired. I tossed it. Actually, I dreamt about this a lot. This is weird. I don't normally dream about launches, like almost ever. I kept dreaming over and over that I was out there watching this and like hanging out with everyone, and it was like, I mean, just over. It was weird, actually. It was really weird. I do not normally do that, so I actually tossed and turned a lot. I don't know why I'm thinking. Maybe just because I didn't sleep much this week either, just trying to get that video out. And I've been just so enthralled in this program the last week that maybe I'm just too invested in it at this point. So also, thank you so much to you, David Swenson. Really, really, really appreciate that. This is from Omer. This is a great question. Let's see, where did that go? Why do spaceships need oxygen when they are still in the atmosphere? Can't they use the oxygen from the air instead of carrying it? That's a great question. So the question being, why do rockets have their own oxygen tank? Why are they using why are they wasting oxygen when there's oxygen in the air, right? Well, don't forget the oxygen on board of rockets is liquid oxygen. So liquid oxygen is about 1,000 times more dense than the standard, gaseous oxygen that we have in our atmosphere. So in order to get that amount of oxygen into the rocket engines are extremely hungry. They're flowing thousands and thousands of kilograms through those engines in very short periods of time. I mean, they're just shooting really, highly compressed liquid oxygen into the engine. And it's insane. It's a lot of fuel. It's a lot of oxygen to keep up with. That is something, though. There's some hybrid rocket motors, like the Sabre, which is trying to take the atmospheric oxygen and compress it and cool it, basically instantly condense it down into a liquid in flight. Now that's the hardest part, is they have to flash freeze it basically, and do that while going, at Mach numbers. It's really, really a difficult thing. And a lot of people just say it's not worth it to try to do that and rely on that system than it is just make the tank a little bit bigger. So
Truly inspirational. And right now, all of that inspiration is up in the sky as the Virgin Galactic space flight mission makes its way towards the launch point. Let's take a look at these onboard camera footages now and see what we've got here. We are already at 40,000 feet. You can already see the incredible view and the sky starting to darken there. This is already higher than what most regular commercial airliners will travel at. So I'm sure all of our astronauts are taking in that view already and getting really excited and prepared for the mission. Now, Kelly, we hope to connect live with Richard throughout the show here. What would be going through your mind if you were on board with him right now?
Gosh, aside from the overwhelming excitement, right, I think it would just be a sense of awe, the hard work and the vision that it took to get to today, and the magnitude of what it means for the next generation of humans who are going to experience the wonder of spaceflight.
Absolutely. I mean, this is certainly the dawn of a new space age. And Mothership Eve is currently ascending still. We're already over 40,000 feet. Our target launch altitude for today is 45,000 feet. But in addition to that launch altitude, we also have a designated release point within the airspace. So while you may see us get to altitude rather quickly, we'll continue to complete our flight path until we get to that designated launch point. So everything's looking really good. Again, they're over 40,000 feet now, and just a beautiful view. You get.
I just wanted to answer this question quick. Isn't he Sir Richard Branson? Does that make him the first space knight? Well, don't forget about Sir Richard Garriott. Also flew to space. I don't know if he was knighted when he flew, though. That's something, someone needs to look that up. He flew on Soyuz. I think did he fly twice? So by the way, they still are not publishing a T0 time yet. But yeah, and real quick, I just want to point out, there's obviously a lot of debate, for people, are these people considered astronauts? Oh, there we go. They just gave us a T minus 20. Okay, awesome. So about 22 my time. I'll try and line my clock up here if I can. Oh, you guys can't even. Sorry, you guys can't even hear this. It's okay. It's a rough morning.
Joining Jamil is Patrick
let's see,
Moran,
is our time.
who served as a
Okay, that's
pilot in the
approximately.
Marine Corps for 20 years, where he operated as
I'll
a
have to
test pilot
clean up the clock
and
a little
test
bit,
pilot
but
school instructor.
yeah. So
Virgin
the
Galactic
question
with
is,
over
are these people that are
3,000
just
flight
flying
hours in 34
and not
different
really spending
aircraft.
any real time in space?
In
Should they be
Mothership
considered
Eve
astronauts?
today, we have CJ
I think we're going to need a new definition of astronaut, in my opinion. I think astronaut should be a profession. It's someone that lives and works in space and does, if you're doing a science experiment or doing something that, you are paid to go, your profession is an astronaut, that makes sense to me. Paying to ride in something for 4 minutes of weightlessness, maybe kissing the edge of space, I think that should be like a space tourist. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just don't think it should be the same thing as, the pilots, these guys. Sure, they're astronauts. They're being paid to, I don't know. That's my personal opinion. I think it should be about, who's flying and what's your purpose. Are you getting paid? Yeah, like a spacer. Yeah, we almost need a new term. Like, I don't know. It'd be really fun to come up with some kind of, I don't know. From Simcha, yes, absolutely. Thank you for wanting to help with the channel. Patreon is amazing. If you guys do want to help support what I do and the rest of us here at Everyday Astronaut do, including the website and all of our videos and all that stuff, patreon.com/everydayastronaut. You can definitely gain access to some behind the scenes things, get early access to some things, and also YouTube members, though you do also get some stuff like that too. So, by the way, again, I'm going to be talking over a lot of this because this stuff is all online. I'd rather be answering your questions. This is something that I forgot to do. This is from P. Bissardo. Sincerely appreciate your content. In comparison video, did you give the G's each will experience? No, we did not have the max G's. I don't think they ever get much above 2 G's, if I recall. And I think we didn't quote that because it was a little bit, those numbers were in question. I'd rather not just, have questionable things. So, this is a really good question. Fabio saying, how did they recover from the aerodynamic problems in the past? So they did unfortunately lose a vehicle, and in the breakup of that vehicle, they also lost one of their 2 test pilots, very tragically. But what happened was, I believe that was in 2014. What happened was one of the test pilots, and they accidentally unlocked the feathering system, and they didn't deploy it, but they just unlocked it. But because they're under power, when they're under power, the vehicle basically folded in half. So they solved it by making it so that can't be done. that while it's under power, that the feather cannot be deployed. Made it. I think they just kind of checked a lot of their T's and crossed their T's and dotted some of their I's. But now the aerodynamic stability problems, that was definitely a multifaceted thing. Where it's like, well, they shouldn't have been able to unlock it at that portion of flight. They should have had the training to remember not to necessarily, be unlocking it while under power. There's definitely a few things that went wrong. But yeah, I do want to point out though, the pilots that fly these things might be some of the best pilots in the world because these vehicles are 100% hand flown. Like there's nothing, there's no fly-by-wire, there's no, gyro stabilize this. It's completely like hands-on. You are flying it, which is super wild to think about. So, okay, hold on.
Richard Branson, and I have. He has left an indelible mark in the world of business, travel, and entertainment. And it's all been fueled by his restless sense of adventure. And where did Richard get that intrepid spirit? His mother, Eve Branson. She taught Richard to be bold, to be brave, and Richard knows for many reasons today would not be possible without Eve. And he's penned a special letter in tribute to her.
Again, all these videos are online, so we'll answer some more questions. So this is, I like this question. My favorite spacesuit. Here now. This might be unpopular opinion. I actually really like the Boeing spacesuit, the blue one. I like the suit part. I like SpaceX's helmet. I love these spacesuits, the Virgin Galactic ones, but they are not semi-pressure suits at all. They don't have any pressure capabilities. They're basically just a nice jumpsuit that looks really cool and probably has a little bit of padding in case you get, bonked around or something. But as far as actual spacesuits, and by the way, spacesuits, there's still kind of 2 kinds of spacesuit. There's the IVA suit, an intra-vehicular activity suit. Those are what you would fly, wear during ascent and reentry. They can handle, depressurization events for a short amount of time. They're not meant to be out in the environment of space on their own. You don't walk around on the moon or do spacewalks in those. Those are EVA spacesuits, extra vehicular activity suits. I really like Boeing's, the blue one. I think the fit of it looks really good. I've worn it. It feels really good. I really like the way it feels, but I really like SpaceX's helmet. I wish you could blend the two, and I don't love the blue of it. I would rather it be black and white or something like that. And then I think that would be ideal for me personally. So, let's see. I saw a, Oh, this is awesome. Your dad understands orbits thanks to my shorts. That's awesome. Not my shorts that I'm wearing, one of those YouTube shorts again. Remember, we're working on an entire catalog here of kind of a glossary of items so that you guys can, really quickly look up like what's orbit versus suborbit, because that's a big thing today. This is a suborbital flight. They aren't going into orbital space. They're not going to be staying up in space for any long portion of time, a couple minutes at best. So this is another question from Martin. What are the chances that this Virgin Galactic can move from a plane to take off to a rocket of some sorts? Well, the rocket is, there is a rocket inside. A rocket motor is just a motor that just ejects mass out of its back end to accelerate a vehicle. A rocket is kind of a, it's almost a lot of things can be rockets, So the rocket plane part is still a rocket. It does have wings. It's a rocket powered plane, basically. They could absolutely use that at sea level and just take off at sea level. They just won't get very high. They use the jet engine to assist them. And someone was asking earlier about, why do rockets use their own oxygen when they could be using the oxygen? That's kind of what they're doing. They're using the efficiency of a standard jet engine, right? An actual turbine jet engine is very efficient and very, it has a very high specific impulse measured in the thousands of seconds because it uses the air as a reaction mass. It uses the oxygen from external, the actual atmosphere's oxygen to burn and run. So you can use that to your advantage and use the air to your advantage and then turn on the rocket. And when it's something like this for suborbital, it makes a lot of sense. Now, going orbital with that system doesn't make as much sense. I don't think they have any intention of ever making a full-blown just rocket only. This is Philip. Nice to hear from you. Am I planning to go to Mars Studio? I have a studio down in South Texas where I cover Starship launches. Do I have any plans on going back to Mars for the booster testing? No plans yet. Maybe. This round of booster testing is frankly pretty boring. It's pretty much the same thing we saw, with the early days of Starship testing, right? Just kind of, it's just a shell, and there might be an engine or two or three installed at some point. Well, actually, an engine is being installed right now. But, those static fires, it's not going to be any different than a normal Starship static fire. We saw hundreds of those. I love that there's going to be, I guarantee that these are going to be some of the biggest streams we see again, is people so excited for the booster static firing. Yet it's going to be like literally the same thing that we've seen for the last year, just a little bit taller. Ooh, what is that altitude? I can't read it, but they are saying 15 minutes and 50 seconds. So I need to add 5 minutes and I just need to add 5 minutes. Okay, easy. This way we can kind of keep on top of it even when their thing goes away. And it looks like I am about like this. And again, it seems like their TZO time is probably relatively soft. Look at that, though. They are at 45,000 feet. So that's roughly 15 kilometers or so, more like 14 kilometers. So like I said, they climbed to 18 kilometers is when they let go of this vehicle. So, man, that is cool. So this is already a lot higher than a standard, airliner. A normal airliner doesn't get too much above 10 kilometers, 35,000 feet cruising altitude. So that alone would actually be pretty fun just to see, just to be able to go that high up in a plane would honestly be pretty dang fun. So, did I dream about Stephen Colbert? No, I did not. So this is a good question from Nick. The worst CO2 per tourist. Well, again, you got to keep it in relative terms. Yeah, it's not great. Obviously per amount of time per person, it's very poor, but it's not any worse than the average person riding on a transatlantic flight. And we have thousands and thousands of people that do that every day. It's not a great thing as far as CO2, output goes, obviously. But that's one of those things that Blue Origin, with their Hydrolox powered engine, the only byproduct is water vapor. I think Virgin Galactic's, I tried looking it up actually. Interesting. Well, hang on, I got to see what he's saying about SLS.
Machine in years. That's where the innovations of Virgin Galactic come in.
And just for reference here too, by the way, Virgin Galactic started sponsoring and then basically buying the technology from Scaled Composites, who was working on the Ansari X Prize in 2004. That's where this kind of all started from, was when they were trying to win a $10 million prize to be the first people to go to space, land, and do it all within, I think it was like a 1 week time frame to try to go back to back, and they did it in 5 days between flights. Super, super cool. This is cool. Ooh, that's very slick. Look at those pretty graphics. From Everyday Heatstronaut, what if Richard Branson has a little accident? So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe someone on board will. I think those suits will probably cover it up pretty well. I'd probably poop my pants. I don't know. Just a little mild extra Delta V. I don't know. I don't know. It is fun to note. Someone asked if he's the oldest person in space. Where was that? Because he's 70. Oh, here we go. Victoria. Sorry, I didn't get to this comment. Branson's 70. Will this make him the oldest or second oldest? I think second oldest, because I'm pretty sure John Glenn, when he flew for a second time, was he 72? Does someone know? Yeah, someone looked that up. I think he was a little older. Let's see. So how much faster might development have gone if they had the same freedoms in terms of regulations as in the Apollo era? I don't think it's regulations. I think it was funding. This is a program that's measured in the hundreds of millions of dollars for development, and the Apollo program is measured in hundreds of billions of dollars in development. I really don't think it had much to do with regulations. I mean, yeah, I think most of it just, man, I can't even tell which parts of these things are renders and what's not. That's obviously a render, or in the studio, but man, those shots are beautiful looking. That's cool. Anyway, yeah. Let's see, from Matt, that's very cool. You guys did that's very cool, SpaceShipTwo cardboard build. That's awesome. I'll definitely have to look for that. What do you believe the role of private and government-funded space programs each should be in the future? Well, I definitely think NASA should be focusing more on the science aspect of things. I think NASA needs to be not worried about vehicles anymore. That they should, that's something that the commercial industry can and has, frankly, it has always done. NASA has designed rockets and then procured contracts, like Northrop in the original lander. Boeing built good portions of the original Saturn V, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that's the way it's always been. But that was always with cost plus contracting. Now, obviously, the way that we want to be moving forward is with how we're doing, like with the commercial crew program and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. Sorry, this is a beautiful render. But I think that feather system is really, really cool. Maximizes drag, maintains super stable profile on reentry. I think that's really a slick idea. Anyway, yeah, and then I think there should be, I do think there should be some taxpayers' dollars to make sure that, there's awards funded for good innovation, because I think that's really where we move ourselves into the future. And people say, why are you spending so much money on space when there's people going hungry and stuff? It's like those two things, it's not a zero-sum game. It's not like you spent money on space. First off, that money doesn't go to space. That money's spent here on Earth, paying people, good salaries and paying, for materials that are done here on Earth. So when you go to space, you're not just wasting money on space flight. You're paying a lot of people to do the engineering, do all those systems and all that stuff. So I also think it's important for inspiration. I mean, the Apollo program, if you think about what happened in the 1960s, the United States saw a 4-fold increase in engineers and mathematicians, people that graduated college. And think about what happened after the Apollo era. There's a reason that the United States kind of became the leader in software development and technology. Oh, my time got off by another minute. How did that happen? Hold on. It's a pretty soft T0 time. Oh, 2 minutes off now. They keep moving it like crazy. These soft T0 times. All right. We just want to try to stay on top of it so that when they take it away from us, we at least still have something to kind of go off of. They're at 46,000 feet now, so they're coming up on 15 kilometers. They are getting up there big time. That's super cool. I really want them to talk to her. I want to see inside. We have not seen inside yet. But yeah, so the point being, there's a lot of good that comes out of space flight and space innovation. And I do think that, government should be doing the science end of things, the things that aren't necessarily profitable, while also helping to spur innovation and set up programs that allow people to push the boundaries. I think that's what the human landing system is a good example of that. NASA awarded $3 billion to SpaceX to be able to make Starship be a lunar lander. Now, Starship, if you don't know, that thing's huge. It's like a 15-story tall building that they're going to land on the moon. And they got $3 billion from NASA to be able to be the lunar lander. And they were half the price of the next cheapest option and 100 times the capacity of the next cheapest option. So they definitely deserved that bid 100%. It's extremely ambitious, though. It's like utterly, absurdly ambitious. Will that actually work out? I don't know. But what technologies will we learn? How far are we going to push the boundaries right now, with that program? It's going to be pretty amazing. So 6 minutes now. Yep, that's okay. All right, so this is a good one from Chris. I do need to do an interview with Robert Zubrin. I think him and I would get along very well. Absolutely. Let's see. This is this is a great question from JT8D or JTID. I don't know. The altitude of 80 kilometers doesn't need re-entry procedure. There is no need of a heat shield. That's pretty much correct, honestly. That's the re-entry procedure for this is a carefree re-entry, meaning the vehicle folds itself in half, which allows it to, now notice, like in those renders, notice the vehicle is coming down pretty much with the flattest, most surface area, most cross-section area of the vehicle coming down straight. So it has a lot of surface area that slows it down. And those tail stabilizers then, it's cool because what they're doing is they're basically moving the center of pressure with the orientation of the vehicle. So while a vehicle is flying forward, you obviously want the control stabilizers behind you. But if you want to fall straight down, you put them above you, and that's going to be what's going to be aerodynamically stable now. So what it does is it allows it to slow down as much as possible and not speed up too much, because that's, oh, there we go. Finally, shots from inside. That's cool. That is cool. I want more shots of them. Give us more shots of them. I'm going to keep listening here a little bit just to...
A vehicle that is arguably the most exciting vehicle in the world to fly.
People are pointing out he's got a window seat. It should be mentioned that all passengers have a window seat. They all have, there's only 2 seats on either side. Here we go. There's the configuration. And they did get it is the actual interior on this now. Yes, that is awesome. So they finished up the interior. I did not know that. That's the first I've seen of that outside of the renders. So that's really, really cool. I didn't even know if they would be doing it on SpaceShipTwo. I didn't know. I didn't know if SpaceShipTwo, because they already have a SpaceShip3. Yeah, and in the back there is a mirror. Yes, that is true, because they said they want you to be able to look at yourself and see yourself floating in space, which is, I think that's pretty cool.
At this point, the pilots are ensuring the spaceship is in its launch configuration after going through the various L-10 checks, just confirming all settings are back in their place and go for launch. Now, this is also the point when Spaceship Unity will isolate her air supply from Eve and prime the rocket motor by opening the backup oxidizer valve. And once these actions are complete, the pilots are going to seek clearance for release from MCC. And that's shorthand for our Mission Control Center. We have 2 MCCs supporting today. Our primary horizon is located here at Space.
He honestly looks kind of nervous. This is, I get it though. I would be too, 100%.
In Mojave, California. These teams consist of experts across various departments and disciplines within the company, and they're verifying checks with the crew today every step of the way. All right, and I've just heard from MCC that our L-4 checks are complete. We are roughly 3 minutes out from release at this point. It's getting really exciting. I don't know about you all, but I can feel the anticipation building just watching the screen and looking at their faces. Look at that, they've already got big smiles on. And we have just received clearance for release on time from Mission Control Center. So we are 2 minutes and 30 seconds out now.
Oh, I'm feeling it. I don't know about you guys. I'm feeling it.
I can only imagine what it would be like to be on board. This must be incredibly exciting for the crew.
Yeah, remember, the cool thing is they can shut the engine down. They can also drop the vehicle and not light the engine. If there's anything wrong, they can just glide back down, either while attached or free flying. So they have a lot of backup options here. So although it is scary, there's a great shot. So if something were to not appear right on any of their systems or any of their instruments, they can either not light the engine, they can light the engine, turn it off, which is really cool, even though it is a solid rocket booster, as we mentioned earlier. But yes, this is a great shot.
Yeah, it's a hugely exciting and focused moment right now.
Definitely. 1 minute and 30 seconds.
I can't even imagine. Honestly, I can't. So we're way off now, actually.
The spaceship pilots are also going to push the stick all the way forward to prepare for release. And things happen pretty quickly after the release. So the pilots are going to light the rocket motor and they're going to accelerate in level flight until they reach Mach 1, at which point they'll start what we call the gamma turn, where we turn directly up and head to space. 1 minute to release now. It's getting real.
So exciting.
Oh man, who's feeling it? I'm
45
feeling it.
seconds.
All right, so remember, it's going to drop the middle part of what you're seeing right now. The big Virgin logo is going to drop from the White Knight to carrier plane. And then it'll free fall for just a couple seconds, and then they light the engines.
30 seconds. The Spaceship Unity pilots are arming the launch pylon now. We are armed for release. 20 seconds.
Oh, man.
10 seconds. 5, 3, 2, 1. Release, release, release. Clean release. Ignition. Good rocket motor burn. There's Mach 1 trimming now.
Holy cow, Mach 1 already. Oh my gosh.
Trim complete. Unity is pointed directly up and heading to space. Things are looking great. We are 25 seconds into the burn now, approaching Mach 2.
I want to see that inside shot.
30 seconds, Mach 2. Everything's looking really good and stable. 40 seconds. 45 seconds.
The engine runs for about 1 minute.
50 seconds, approaching Mach 3.
Well, a beautiful vehicle.
There's Mach 3. And 60 seconds, and that is a full duration burn, folks. We are headed to space.
Yes.
And the passengers in the back have been cleared to unstrap. Our predicted apogee is 279,000 feet and climbing.
So they are now experiencing weightlessness. At this moment, they're already experiencing weightlessness because they are no longer experiencing the acceleration of the vehicle.
This is normal. We want those windows pointed down towards the Earth to maximize that incredible view.
Give us that internal cam.
So Feather is coming up now, and the pilots are also enabling the RCS, or Reaction Control System, which is what they'll use to control the attitude of the vehicle while we're outside the atmosphere. All right, Feather is all the way up. We are at about 250,000 feet now and climbing. As soon as we cross the boundary to space, we'll hear a word from our founder, Sir Richard Branson.
So notice it is
Welcome
slowing
to
down
Space
because
Unity
it's
22.
coasting up at this point. It's just, the engines are off, it's coasting up, and you and the vehicle are both experiencing the same pull of gravity. So your internal reference, everything's moving at the same rate. You are experiencing weightlessness at this point. I really hope we hear from him. I want to see those interior. Now, I will point out, it is hard. Trust me, as a live streamer, it's really hard to stream from anywhere, let alone a vehicle like this. So I'll give them a lot of grace if they are not able to pull off a live stream from inside.
Cameras recording things on board today, and we'll be sure to capture his magical words and share them with the world when they're available.
They are already beginning to fall to hit Apogee.
Remember the day, remember where you are, and remember who you shared this with, and remember the name Virgin Galactic, because today, space is virgin territory. The culmination of a life's work, more than a half a century since the world rejoiced in and was transformed by humans leaving planet Earth, Sir Richard Branson fulfills his long-held dream of experiencing space with his crew. Congratulations again, Richard, and congratulations also to Sarisha and Colin on becoming astronauts today. And welcome back to space to Dave, Mike, and Beth.
Oh, there we go. We see them getting back into their seats now.
Oh, you can see him now?
Richard Branson was upside down. They're like, get in your seat. He's like, I can't. I'm upside down. Now they're going to start. The vehicle's going to start experiencing some atmospheric drag soon. That will give them the sense of gravity, and that will begin slowing them down. That'll push you into your seat. So imagine if you're free falling, and all of a sudden the vehicle starts slowing down. That's what's going to be pushing up on you. So.
The boost portion of the flight to be loud and thrilling, but what's interesting is re-entry is also very similar, as supersonic air is flowing over the vehicle in the feathered configuration. Shock waves form on top of the cabin, which are audible to those inside. And for those of you on site watching on the ground, you should be able to hear a double sonic boom as Spaceship Unity once again breaks the sound barrier.
So on ascent, that sound barrier, breaking the sound barrier, the sonic boom is going up. So we typically don't hear ascent sonic booms with any rocket launch. When it breaks the speed of sound, they're going with the vehicle. But now re-entry, you almost always hear a sonic boom because again, you're going with the vehicle. It's breaking the sound barrier, and those sound waves are pointing down at the ground. So I wonder if we'll actually hear that in the stream. So by the way, they did reach about 86 kilometers.
All right, folks, we are now subsonic. Just under 75,000 feet in altitude.
Wow. SpaceShipTwo has reached 89.9 kilometers before, so this is not a new altitude record. But it's nominal. That's what they expect, is over 80 kilometers. So about 50 miles, by the way. So it's still in that feathered configuration.
Now, also
but soon
this is our first time transmitting HD camera data down to the ground and then out to a global live stream. So please do see some drops in the feed, but we still have some really great ground footage coming in here. Oh, there we go. Now we can see that is the tail cone of Unity. And the pilots.
And again, remember, the pilots are literally in control of this entirely. There is no automation. So all of the, the buffeting and all the different aerodynamic considerations.
This is normal and expected. Once that feather's down and locked, the pilots will begin a gentle pull up to a level attitude. And I'm hearing the feather is down and locked now. So at this point, Spaceship Unity is a glider. So it's all about balancing her potential and kinetic energy. So if the pilots want to go faster, they point the nose down. And if they want to go slower, they bring the nose up.
That is awesome.
And right now I'm hearing the crew's listening to a special soundtrack for the glide. It's the latest release from Khalid, a track called New Normal.
All right, and we are going to... Oh. Okay, I was going to say, that is a certain copyright strike. Now, yeah, you will notice the engine had what looks like... I don't see any vomit anywhere. That's a good sign. That is really cool. I'm not gonna lie. So you will notice the nozzle has a little bit of disturbances. It's okay. Part of the nozzle is likely ablative. It also looks like it's shut down. Actually, it really does look like ice crystals, and that's something that would make sense. You have liquid nitrous oxide flowing through it. And in a low atmospheric environment, it probably did form ice crystals on the end of the nozzle. It's okay. They replace that cartridge basically each time that solid rocket portion. They replace every single flight. So Yep, it's not damage. It's normal. So that's crazy. After 7 minutes, they're already almost back down. Wow. See, even this would be fun though. This is one of the things that I would like, you know, between when you compare the two, between Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic. I would like this experience to be able to soak it all in for, you know, I think it takes them 20 minutes to get down on the ground. Well, 20 minutes from drop to, so they probably have about 12 more minutes of just gliding back down. And I think I would like that as a passenger, as an experience. I personally think I would want to soak it all in, sit there, think about what I just witnessed and experienced. You know, that's just me though. Hold on, I guess I'm getting too far behind in my thing here. Give me a second. Let's get caught up on some stuff here for you guys. Give me 1 second. All right, so thank you very much, LM Tech. When do I plan to go to space? I don't have any plans to go to space. I don't know. It's not something that like I don't just need to go to space. Oh.
One day be able to experience it. It's a complete experience for a lifetime. And now I'm looking down at a beautiful spaceport. Congratulations to everybody for creating such a beautiful, beautiful place. Congratulations to all our wonderful team at Virgin Galactic for 17 years of hard work to get us this far.
Yeah, not the...
Part of that. It seems like there's a little bit of a delay in the transmission there. It does have a long way to travel, but you could tell by the smiles on their faces, they just had the ride of their lives. We are so excited for them to land and party the rest of the day with, like astronauts, in the typical Virgin fashion.
I like seeing him so excited. That's awesome. Well deserved. I do love the interior of that vehicle. That is so cool. So the other thing, to go to space, I did make a horrible decision when I started my Patreon like 4 years ago. I said if I got to 10,000 patrons, which is a number I thought would be physically impossible, I said I would purchase a ride to space. We're over 5,000 patrons, and I'm like, oh my god, I might actually have to purchase a ride to space now. Oh man. So yeah. I guess I might be going to space. The question is, when do I plan? I guess at 10,000 patrons. But other than that, I don't really, that's not something I'm like out seeking to do, just for clarity. Like I would probably do it with, you know, the right conditions for sure. But I'm not out seeking, like I need to go to space, you know. Some people, that's what they've like, oh, my whole life I've wanted to be an astronaut. I'm like, I like it down here. I would like to see it at some point, but, all right. Wouldn't this be the most people to pass into space at once since the shuttles? Yeah. If you consider 86 kilometers space, that is you know, that's a consideration for sure. But yes, it would be 6 because the shuttle would normally carry 7. It actually carried 8 on a couple missions with a little jump seat basically. But yeah, it could carry 7. So 6 is a record since 2011. That's a good call. I like that. Alex, thank you so much. Let's see. This is a good question, and honestly, I don't exactly... Oh, they're not popping up on the screen. Sorry. From Jan Moss saying, hey, Tim, why is the nozzle exit on VSS Unity extended further on the bottom versus the top? Yeah, you might notice it's like cantered. It's cut off at an angle. I don't actually know the exact reason. A little bit of me wonders... if it's actually the further a nozzle pushes, you will actually experience, you know, like if the longer portion will help it kick out a little bit, you know, help it pitch up like natural. But I don't actually have a good reason for it though. Does anyone know? Does anyone have an actual knowledge based why it's cantered like that? Why it's cut off? Thank you very much to Thomas for the becoming a member. And sorry again, like I mentioned, they seem to not be popping up on screen here, but I'm still trying to read all your guys' good questions here and everything too. Let me try and fix something that might help.
embedded with symbolic meaning. The number 4 is sacred to the Zia people, and the emblem represents the 4 directions, the 4 seasons, the 4 times of day, and the 4 phases of life. We are honored and proud to feature this perfectly balanced symbol on Spaceship Unity's tail cone, as we also celebrate our new home.
That's cool. Again, yeah, thank you to all the new YouTube members. Don't forget, we do exclusive live streams. You guys can also get early access to videos and scripts and things like that as a YouTube member as well as a Patreon supporter. Let's see.
Spaceport America is around 4,600 feet in altitude.
So this is a glider at this point. So kind of like the space shuttle, it is unpowered. So you have to nail your landing. You have to really know your glide ratios, really know your velocity in order to you only get one chance to land on the runway. You can't you can't go back around.
Down and locked.
Now notice there isn't.
We're going to be landing on runway 34 today, so that's coming from the south and towards the north for those of you on site watching. And for the non-pilots tuning in, those numbers represent the first 2 numbers of the magnetic heading of the runway. So for example, 34 is 340 degrees on your compass.
By the way, you should notice there's not a front landing wheel. It's just a skid pad. So they literally have like a, here we go. Yeah, it's not a wheel though. Look at that. That helps it slow down just as soon as it touches down.
300 feet.
And obviously it doesn't have a very good glide ratio, so they're going to land very fast at 320 kilometers an hour, basically. Maybe a little less, 300-ish.
Main gear touchdown. And we're going to hold it just like this for a minute before bringing the nose down. Can see they're already celebrating inside there. And the nose is coming down now. Nose gear touchdown.
That's awesome.
And braking.
Mad props to those pilots. That is some skilled piloting. That's awesome. What a beautiful vehicle. You can't argue. That is a super beautiful vehicle. Wow. They did it.
Look at that incredible drone footage here as we come in. And there is full stop.
All right.
A perfect landing. Virgin Galactic 4 mission specialists on board from our operational home base, Spaceport America. A beautiful day of flight. What a moment. Congratulations to everybody on board, and of course our very own Spaceship Unity, who returned to space today. And of course we also saw beautiful flying from our Eve crew, CJ and Kelly, and brilliant work by our chase pilots, Jamil and Patrick, all of whom are still in the air right now. Great job to you all.
So they're venting at the cabin pressure.
Ladies and gentlemen, there it is. More than half a century since the world rejoiced when humans first achieved spaceflight, Richard Branson fulfills his dream of experiencing space travel. Congratulations to Richard and Virgin Galactic. Congratulations also to Colin Bennett and Sarisha Bandla on becoming astronauts. And also a welcome back to space for David Mackay, Mike Masucci, and Beth Moses.
Well, stay tuned, folks. We will be hearing more from our astronauts later in the broadcast, and we also have a special musical performance to celebrate today's milestone. But first, let's hear some thoughts on the flight. Chris, you've returned from space several times now, both on a capsule and a space shuttle. How does this landing compare to the landings you've experienced?
Well, obviously, that's a much more gentle landing than a capsule on my Soyuz flight. The shuttle 2 times was quite similar to what the crew just went through. But for them, of course, it's such a personal experience now. And what are they going to do with this? How are they going to take this amazing view of the Earth that they've just had and the kind of brave new nature of what this whole team has just accomplished? How are they going to now make that part of who they are, and how are they going to share this experience with other people? You know, that's what's going through their minds right now. I'm just so proud of the whole team. That was an amazing accomplishment.
It was epic. And, you know, as somebody who has spent, what, like 4,000 hours in space, is it? Yeah. How do you feel about, you know, a space line for the Earth opening?
It's what I've been hoping that we've been able to do ever since I was a little kid, dreaming about it, and during my space flights, so that the technology gets good enough and someone has the tenacity and the vision to push beyond all the resistance and the naysayers and to create a capability for, you don't have to be a professional astronaut for your whole life to see the world this way. I think, I just couldn't be more proud of all the people that work at Virgin Galactic, and I'm just so delighted at what this open door is going to lead to now. It's a great moment.
Absolutely, certainly. And Kelly, I want to hear your thoughts too. And, you know, also your daughter, Delta V, who is on site today, is also, she's only 3, and she's also a huge space enthusiast just like you. And, you know, how does this milestone affect her and what does that mean for her and also for you?
Yeah, I am still emotional from this flight. It is so amazing. A dry eye in the studio. But, you know, when I think of my daughter on site, just like you said, it's like, this is what it's all about. You know, it means the world to me. Not only that she was here to witness history today, but that she's going to watch me, her mom, become an astronaut. You know, that's going to be normal in her mind. That's just another thing moms do. Of course, they go to space. You know, and I just think that's incredible. She's going to grow up knowing that not even the sky is a limit. And I think the other thing that struck me is it's just such a powerful reminder of how much can change in a single generation. My mom is also on site here today. She's going to kill me for aging her, but when she was born, human beings hadn't yet been to space. And when she was growing up, women weren't eligible. And now here she is watching her daughter prepare for a space flight of my own. You know, it gives me a
Absolutely. You know, and the moon landing is what inspired Sir Richard Branson. And so who knows what, you know, Delta V watching today, what that's going to inspire her to do and other people in her generation. It's so incredibly exciting.
It is.
And folks, this is just the beginning. Virgin Galactic is a venture as a catalyst. It's the start of a whole new space age, which is completely different from the one before. You know, space was something that was unattainable by all but a very small group of people. And it was a preserve of government agencies for national pride. And this is totally different. You know, it's the new space age, which is, you know, for Kelly, for Delta V, for Chris, for me, it's for everybody. And, you know, we're making it more accessible to the public. So I know, you know, the full effect of what happened today will not be felt for some time, but it will touch many generations to come.
So, real quick, I see something that I just have to mention. This is brilliant from Jonathan, saying we should call them kind of expensive rocket-aided brief astronaut levers or Kerbals. That's so good. That's so good.
Our ship, just sort of like the crew returned today. And just before I got into my spacesuit, I went over to the window just to try and soak up a little more of that incredible perspective. You know, the world is so generously beautiful. And you see it in a whole new way. You can see for thousands of miles in each direction. And you can see the curvature of our planet. And the reality of where we all live suddenly becomes part of who you are. And right up to the last second, I was there with my nose print on the glass, you know, trying to not miss the magnificence of this entire experience.
Yeah, and you took like thousands of photos up there too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Does that even give you a glimpse of what it was like as a reminder to be up there?
I know the video today was a little glitchy, but we've got all the recorders on board.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
What the crew's going to have now, of course, is their own personal memories, and then the way to sort of catalyze them again and be able to watch those videos and think about the beauty of what they've been through and let it sort of sink into who they are. And so, yeah, it really helped me now remember the richness of the experience. So it'll be great to see the videos that they recorded on board.
Absolutely, and you know that richness sticks with you too. And you have a TED Talk actually that you talked about a lot of things, right? Overcoming fear, walking through spider webs, but also, you know, my favorite part of it was when you talked about seeing Earth from above and the transformation that it has on people. You know, we call it the overview effect that, you know, I really hope and I'm sure that our astronauts today experience. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I've been so lucky to see the world from that point of view, and as one of the very first human beings to have the responsibility and the privilege of being up there, and to have a vehicle like Virgin just put up today that is allowing more eyes than just my two to see it, to understand not just the geology of the world, but us on it. You know, all 7 billion of us, and you know, we're on board this little spaceship of Earth, and you can actually get a palpable sense of that from on board the ship. And the crew of Unity, their 22nd flight here today, they now have that inside of them. And all the subsequent crews. Kelly, when you fly as well, you're going to have a chance to sort of shift your permanent perspective of how all this works. Go from being a two-dimensional human to now suddenly really understanding the 3 dimensions and what this planet truly looks like. And it's going to do us all good. As many people can see that as possible.
Absolutely. And, you know, Kelly, I know you're going to be conducting a lot of experiments on board while you fly with Virgin Galactic, but I hope you're taking some time to look out the window and enjoy that too, right?
I'm going to have to carefully choreograph precious time at that window just to soak it in and enjoy the moment and be in the moment.
Definitely. And, you know, while we're waiting for our crew to disembark now, can you actually tell us a little bit about your experiments?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to be flying healthcare and fluid experiments on board my research flight. The first one is the AstroSkin. It's a wearable sensor system designed to monitor how spaceflight affects the human body. The cool thing about it is the AstroSkin is currently worn on board the International Space Station by astronauts, but my flight will be the first time that we're collecting data during launch, reentry, and landing. So I'm really excited to contribute to some novel data collection for the next generation of astronauts. Another experiment I'm flying is a fluid experiment designed to evaluate the behavior of liquid in a confined environment in microgravity. That's also going to be fun because I'm going to be interacting with a fluid cell that has a camera attached to it, and data collected from that experiment can help inform, you know, new technologies related to life support systems or novel designs for syringes for administering medicine in space. So I'm very excited for the opportunity to take my payloads with me to space.
Absolutely. Well, that's so cool. I am hearing that our Chief Medical Officer, Tara Castleberry, is approaching the vehicle now, and they are going to do a medical debrief with the crew. So we'll see that here momentarily. And
I'm going to get to answering some more of your guys' questions because obviously, again, you can watch this anytime. From Gabriel asking, let's see, what do you think the first currency is? Wait, the first currency is space or in space? Something like SGE. It'll be whatever currency. Remember, again, until we have a self-sustaining society in space, there is no need to have a secondary currency because every dollar you're spending in space is actually normally spent down here on some kind of, on people, on materials, on engineers, et cetera, et cetera. So, I do think, I think we'll just continue to use whatever's popular here on Earth. I am in agreement that at some point, blockchain-based currencies is probably the future. I think we're still kind of in the early days of that, but I would like to, all of our currency these days is pretty much digital anyway. Might as well be more secure. So, yeah, I think that'll be. Personally, I think that's kind of moving forward, but. This is a great question from Lego G saying, "Hey Tim, when the Dragon capsule landed a few days ago, I noticed the main chutes had different patterns printed on them. Why is that?" So they do that so they could identify if there was an issue with one of the parachutes. They can look back at the footage and identify each of the 4 chutes, right? So all the different chutes will have a slightly different pattern on them, so they could be like, "Oh, that was chute 3, and let's look at it now. Let's examine what went wrong and have footage to be able to back up." And kind of try to figure some things out so they can problem solve if there were issues. So, yeah. This is a great question. Can the rocket motor of SpaceShipTwo be reignited? I do not believe so. It has an igniter and it can shut off, but I do not believe it can be reignited. And I can't imagine a scenario where they would want to relight it after a shutdown. I don't honestly think that's a possibility. So, dang, they're actually doing a full live concert. Again, we're definitely going to keep this muted because otherwise it's just going to be a copyright strike nightmare. But that's pretty cool. It makes sense. Virgin, that's kind of crazy, though. That does make sense, though. Virgin obviously started off as a record company, so, Richard Branson sure loves his music. This is from Dan Boy. How's the Soviet rocket engine documentary coming? Got a date set yet? No date. Definitely no date. Definitely no date. I wish I could tell you. You know my answer to when videos are done is when they're done. We did a good healthy read through a week ago of all 30 some pages of this video. It's going to be the most ridiculous video I've ever made by far. I'm going to hopefully be shooting that. I'm thinking I'm going to be shooting that here already in a couple days. That's the plan. And then that way we can start editing it, even if I'm going to be out of town for a little bit here. So editing on the road and stuff, I have to have it shot before we can do that. So I can't wait. That's going to be, I promise you, that will be the best video I have ever made by a landslide. So it'll give you the whole history and the whole family tree of quite literally almost every single rocket that came out of the Soviet Union and rocket engine. And it's and we show you who did what and all the little technologies they learned along the way, because it is fascinating history. They made engines like I make lunch. They just make them. Actually, I don't really make lunch that often. They make engines like I way more often than I make videos. So I don't even know. They make engines. I don't even know I think about rockets. I mean, I just feel like they're just looking for excuses to make a new rocket engine. It was just crazy. Let's see here. This is P Square. As Richard is British, I expected the flight to take off from England. Is there any reason for him to choose U.S.? So I think a lot of it has to do with the technology he bought was from Scaled Composites, a U.S. company. So Virgin Galactic is a U.S. There's a lot of actual international trades. What is it? International. So ITAR, international. I think it's a trade agreement and regulations of anything that could be considered a weapon system, a weapon delivery system. So I think it will have to stay in the United States. Virgin Galactic will have to stay in the United States, at least the technology where you build it and all that stuff. And Spaceport America is in New Mexico. Now Virgin Orbit will be launching from other places. And I think he does want Virgin Galactic to have multiple versions, multiple, White Knights, multiple, everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see it launching internationally at some point. But yeah. Let's see here. Let's see from Ube. They at this point, I think it's just working on scaling it up to be a viable business option. They already have. Don't forget, there's Virgin Orbit. Virgin Orbit is a sister company or a sibling company to Virgin Galactic, and that is the one that will do orbital spaceflight. So So if you want to see them do anything orbital, you can get about 300 kilograms on their Virgin Orbit Launcher 1, which launches underneath the wing of a 747. I have a video. Actually, it's funny. The last two videos I've made, I've talked a lot about Virgin Galactic and Virgin Orbit. So the one that I made before, so just yesterday, again, I released a whole video doing a very deep dive on this vehicle, comparing it to Blue Origin's New Shepard, which is launching in 9 days with Jeff Bezos on it. And then before that, though, about a month before that, I released a video about small sat launchers. So I talked about Launcher 1 with Virgin Orbit. So definitely give that a watch if you haven't watched that. Let's see here. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you very much from India. Okay, this is a question from Imogen. So saying, I thought 80 miles was considered space. 50 miles seems like a massive stretch to call yourself any kind of astronaut. So yeah, like we talked about, I would love there to be a definition of astronaut, just being that's your profession is an astronaut, or you're getting paid to do something, or some kind of experiment or something. Although by that definition, Richard Garriott wouldn't be an astronaut and Anush, Ansari wouldn't be an astronaut. And by all means, just because they paid for their own rides, they are by all accounts astronauts. So I don't know. It's a blurry, maybe Orbit or something should be the title for astronauts in the 21st century. I don't know. That's not for me to decide. But space, okay, so 80 miles, there's no definition of 80 miles. 62 miles would be the Kármán line. So that's the international agreement would be 62 miles. The United States Air Force and in the U.S., we consider astronauts anyone over 50 miles. That is what, there's a lot of X-15 pilots that got astronaut wings when they crossed 50 miles. So, yeah, hopefully that answers that question. Thank you very much, Brian. I appreciate that. This is from Coase Diver. We will see. I don't know if I will be streaming the SpaceX flight test of the booster. Yeah, when they flight test it, 100% I'll be there. I will be there. I don't care what else is going on in my life. When they launch the first booster, especially the all-up Super Heavy, when it has over 24 engines, 28 engines or whatever, you better believe I will be there. I will not miss that. That will be the most insane thing to see in the world. So I will definitely be there. Don't forget, we do have Mars Studio B down there, so we have really good coverage for you guys where we actually have 4K cameras. We're working on trying to see if we can finally stream in 4K from there, because that takes a whole different encoder and everything. But for now, I think just having really high quality 1080 looks really good anyway. So yeah, so I'll definitely be there. So this is Tommy. Watch my most recent video. This is a good question though. My most recent video that I just released yesterday about this, I do talk about suborbit. There isn't just like a level where air stops. It just slowly tapers. And there's even, there's certain pockets. Like, think of air. Air is a fluid. Now, notice I didn't say air is a liquid. People seem to mix up fluids and liquid. Air is a fluid, so it's literally sitting on top, kind of like the ocean. You think about the ocean as waves. There's certain points where you might be, if you were just completely stationary, you might be getting wet from the ocean, or you might be totally dry. You might be in the water, you might be out of the water, depending on where the wave is, right? Or even just standing on the beach. You're like, imagine your knees. Your knees might be in the ocean for half a second and then not in the ocean for the next 3 seconds based on the wave. It's similar like that in the atmosphere. The atmosphere kind of, it tapers. There's still some pockets of some air molecules, more density in this, and it kind of just floats around. So it's not like there's just this, all of a sudden air just stops and there's no longer air. I mean, there's still trace amounts of atmosphere up at the International Space Station. The International Space Station at 400 kilometers up still experiences a decent amount of atmospheric drag. They actually have to boost it once a month, twice a month, or, a decent amount of time to be able to stay in orbit, because it has such a big surface area. It still is experiencing a very, very tiny amount of drag. But of course, over months and months and months, it definitely starts to, to lower its orbit a little bit. So they do have to boost it. Same thing is, but now when you get out to like 1,000 kilometers, 2,000 kilometers, at that point, there's quite literally virtually zero bits of atmosphere. You might see there might be like an oxygen molecule like floating by or something. Like you might have some, but it's virtually nothing. They want to all gather around the mass of the planet. The mass is what pulls the air in towards it. So it depends on solar cycles. There's so many other considerations that help determine how high up does air start and stop, or stop, I guess, not start, because it starts right here. Let's see, Christopher, why do this? What is the payoff for going high up in the sky? You're not going anywhere, delivering payloads to space. What is the end goal of this? It's literally just for fun. This is, by all accounts, it's recreational. It is recreational spaceflight. That's the best thing. It's for wealthy people to be able to experience something pretty amazing. Now, I would like to see some flat earthers get up on a ride like this. Although I wish it was like really high. I wish they could take them to like 400 or 500 kilometers or something, where you really get high enough to just definitively be like, oh, because I feel like they could still be like, the windows are curved or something. So it was totally flat. I didn't see a curve. I feel like they could still be weird about it, but I want to send a flat earther to like 1,000 kilometers or something. Because that way they'll just be, I think a flat earther needs to go into orbit for like 2 weeks. So they can't just be like, they can't explain how they're floating for 2 weeks. They could be like, they had magnets and then there's screens on the windows or something. Like, I want it to be like definitive, yeah. Hey, thank you very much, Jeremy. I really appreciate that. Tim, you will go to space because all your subscribers will make it so. We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, it's not necessarily like the goal per se of my life. I'm not trying to go to space, but I would definitely do it at some point. All right, let's see here. I'm going to just do a couple more. Sorry, Tyler, we don't quite know. We don't quite know. I don't remember why it's angled, why it's canted like that. Like I said, I think it might be because, the longer your expansion ratio is, the more nozzle there is to push against. That side of things might actually give it a tiny bit of extra push, a little bit of rotation, but I'm not positive. I wish I had a better answer for that. But I unfortunately don't. It might be thermal considerations on the vehicle or something. I wish I knew definitively, but I don't. All right, where was that thing about Vomit Comet? Where did I see that? Crap. I think I missed something. Oh, yeah, at the end of that, yeah. Also, aside from altitude, how does this weightlessness flight? Vomit Comet, you only get to experience about 30 seconds of weightlessness. The Vomit Comet is where you just are on a parabolic flight with an airplane or a jetliner. And you can actually, you can do it literally on like a Cessna. You can be in a Cessna, go up, and, oh, interesting. You can literally do that. Probably should have done this during that whole thing. So you can do like a parabolic flight literally on a Cessna. You can experience weightlessness on a Cessna. You just have to go up, and then as you're going up, start just follow your own parabola of as if someone had thrown you, and then you and everything else will be in the same relative space, and you will float, and things will float around. You might only get like 5 seconds, but jets, a big airliner can go up and do that for about 30 seconds of time. And it's on the way up and it's on the way over. And then it's until you start to like flatten out and level out and pitch back up. At that point, then you experience G-forces again, or experience weight. Yeah. I agree with this. I absolutely, we need to remember, congratulations to the people on board. It's a once in a lifetime experience. I love that people are like, oh, they are astronauts and stuff. Like, who cares? Let's be excited for what they just got to experience. Why are we trying to take something away from them? Like, look at what they just got to experience. How incredible is that? We would all be lucky to do that. I don't think anyone would get on here, experience this flight, leave, and then go, meh. I definitely think it's a pretty incredible experience. So yeah, I just want to remind people that the humanity of all this, it is something fun. It's not necessarily, like I said, it's mostly recreational. It's not something that's like out there really changing the world of space travel per se, but it is accessible. And the whole point is to be as cheap as possible, period. That's, I know obviously in the future, I think it will be, it will be cheaper on something like Starship eventually, or a fully, a vehicle like that might be the cheaper option someday. But for right now, the way this currently is, this is the cheapest thing. Otherwise, the next thing is like a Dragon capsule, and you're going to be paying about $20 million for your seat. And obviously, that's going to get you into orbit. Obviously, you'd spend 3 days, a week, 2 weeks in space. But you're going to be spending millions and millions of dollars as opposed to $250,000. Now, obviously, dollar per minute, I'm sure it's probably a better deal to actually do that. But not everyone has $20 million. Not everyone has $250,000. But they're trying to get it cheap enough that people can do that. Yeah. First space knight, I think we figured it out. He is the first space knight. Sir Richard Garriott is not apparently knighted. I did not realize that. I just always hear him be called Sir. What would your ideal amount of time in 0G be? I think this in Blue Origin is a little short, but Inspiration 4 is a little long for recreation. I agree. I don't think I'd want to spend 3 days. I think honestly, like 8 hours. Do a couple orbits. Do 4 orbits, 6 hours. Yeah. 4 orbits would probably be plenty for me. I don't know. We'll see. My biggest thing is I really don't like, the crew on board a Dragon capsule for 3 days free flying. You're in a room not much, you're in space not much bigger than this with 4 people, sleeping in a room like this with 4 people, going to the bathroom in a room like this with 4 people. It's definitely not the most luxurious, but it would be really, obviously it'd be really cool, but yeah. Why does it look like maybe, oh, it's fine. All right. Wing. High pressure bottom, low pressure difference allows that nozzle profile. Interesting. It's from the wing profile. Okay, cool. Thank you very much, Gadget Merc. So that wing, high pressure bottom, low top. Yeah, interesting. So then that airflow still is affecting the nozzle. That's crazy to think about, actually. That's actually wild. I had to think about that for a bit, but yeah, that's crazy. Congrats to Virgin Galactic and Richard Branson. Thanks for the great coverage. Yes, it was very exciting. You can't deny that it wasn't super exciting. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut away all the way because I'm going to work on wrapping out here. But yes, let's see. The nozzle angle wouldn't be for pressure dynamics. It'd be to help turn the rocket upwards. Uh-oh, sounds like we got a little debate going. I don't know if it would apply that much off-axis torque though, because it'd be very minute. It'd be very minute. Because think about it, we have those, thrusters all the time on vehicles are angled like that to the shell or the outline of the vehicle. Dragon capsule has that. The space shuttle, this vehicle, all the time where the nozzle's at an angle. I don't think it applies. I mean, it might be a tiny bit just because of expansion, but I don't think it's that much. I don't think it'd be really that much enough to pitch up. But that's still a good question, though. Oh, there's the crew. Okay, I better show the crew now, actually. Everyone coming out here. The audio is really gargled. Cool. I assume that the pilots can't steer while slowing down on the runway, so they really need a pinpoint straight landing. I'm sure there's differential braking though between the back two wheels though. I would assume that the back two wheels you can apply brake force on the left or the right wheel, and that'll help steer it down the runway still. And of course the vertical stabilizers could probably do a decent amount there too. So yeah, you wouldn't be able to steer it with the front wheel, but I'm pretty sure you would be able to steer it using braking force and or yaw controls on a vertical stabilizer. I hear a lot of maybe crap. They sound so excited, but their words don't fit what people think. Astronauts, just rich people having fun. So again, I don't. Yeah, you can say whatever you want, but I don't care. It would be a really fun experience, and I'm really proud of everyone involved today. I mean, I think that's, at the end of the day, this is something they've been working on for 17 years, basically, 16 years. Credit where credit is due. It was a beautiful flight. It looked amazing. Everyone's safe. They did their goal. I mean, it's something to be proud of. It's something to be excited about. Whether or not we want to consider them on the same ranks as Chris Hadfield, who's out there, that's for you to decide. I don't really care to critique that too much. It doesn't do any good. So I'd rather just be excited for what's going on. Well, thank you very much. No comment. Well, okay, sorry. So that's a good question. Isn't my studio within the exclusion zone of Starship and B4? I don't know. I don't know what the new exclusion zone is going to be. If my studio is in the exclusion zone, then we have problems because it's, my studio is in a populated area where there's lots of people. It's not Boca Chica. My studio is not in Boca Chica. My studio is really close to South Padre Island. So it's, if they have to move my studio, you also have to move like 10 hotels in South Padre and stuff. Like, I just don't know. I don't know what that exclusion zone is going to look like. But, oh, what year is my AC30? Wow, good eye. How did you notice that? I believe it's a 91 or 88. Good eye. Holy moly. How did you notice that? I've kind of forgot it's back there. Yeah. I believe it's the original it is the original wood one and everything, but I think it's 91. Ignore Jeff Faust's thing. Those wrinkles, that was there on launch. That's always been there. I like that. Don't become a flat earther just so you can go to space and try to prove it wrong. But all right. So I understand. I understand this is becoming a debated topic. So I'm good. Like I said, guys, I'm actually going to go ahead and leave the stream here. But one thing, guys, if you want to help me do what I do, first thing you can do is actually go watch this video. Watch the video that I released yesterday, New Shepard versus SpaceShipTwo. Don't forget, in 9 days, Jeff Bezos is going to be riding his giant rocket. his rocket. This is, of course, New Shepard. That'll be fun to see, too. That'll be really fun because it'll be him, his brother, an unknown person, and then Wally Funk, who I'm really excited to see fly. She deserves to fly. She's, should have been on some of the first space flights ever. But definitely give this video a watch on YouTube or read our article at everydayastronaut.com. You can read through the whole thing here. We have a lot of information here for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. But yeah, and thanks to Flo, by the way, for writing that article. Yeah, also, if you want to help me do what I do, consider buying some merch today. We're taking 10% off of the Aerospike t-shirt. If you want to wear an Aerospike shirt, which is super cool, use coupon code LAUNCHDAY, all one word, all lowercase. Go to apparel and you'll find our Aerospike shirt. So don't forget the Aerospike comes in 2 colors, green and gray. And every one of them have these cool little like tags down here, sewn on tags and everything, and lots of fun little details on our shirts. So yeah, if you want to help me do what I do, consider becoming consider going online, everydayastronaut.com/shop. Grab yourself something fun and help me do what I do. So yeah, coupon code LAUNCHDAY, all one word, all lowercase. Do that at checkout and get 10% off of the Aerospike t-shirt today as my thank you to you. And other than that, if you also want to help me do what I do, consider becoming a Patreon supporter by going to patreon.com/everydayastronaut. So, I'm personally, guys, I honestly had a lot of fun watching this today. I don't think I'm going to stream like every one of these things, probably. I don't know. I just feel like at some point this will become unbelievably routine. But in the meantime, it was really fun to see this first one, the first full crew inside of a full vehicle like that. It was really fun to see. Huge congratulations to everyone on board. Richard, sounds like Richard, Nate, Sarisha, and Kate. Beth? Yeah, Beth. And then, of course, the 2 pilots. Huge congratulations. It just looked amazing. It looked super fun. And I think we all should just be excited that this is an option that we have now. Whether or not you think it's worth it, whether or not you would want to go, that's up to you, of course. But it's just cool that this is a thing now. We live in a time where people can just pay and just go kiss the edge of space. I think that's pretty awesome. So, all right, guys. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching with me this morning. Stay tuned. Like I said, wish me luck. I'm planning to try to shoot the entire Soviet history video this week. Super anxious about it because it's long. It's going to be very hard to do. Wish me luck, and we'll see you guys on Twitter and all these things. And until next time, that's going to do it for me. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, bringing space down to Earth for everyday people. And I hope this outro video works. It might not. We'll see. Bye, everybody.